Hello. How's everybody in this new year? I thought you should see my face for at least a second before I go to the PowerPoint. Happy New Year. Okay. Let me change one more thing. Okay. There's the topic, Introduction to Kaizen, the what, why, and hows. I'm probably more excited about this presentation than any that I've given. I think I've put together, I guess I'm a fathead, but I think I've put together a good fundamentals of Kaizen introduction. This would almost be the first meeting when I meet with people. There's not a lot of slides, but I think they'll be helpful. I have a new web designer, and he put these PowerPoint presentations together for me. I think I'm not as good looking as I like to look, but there I am. And he does a really nice job and makes me look really professional. Let's get started. The services I provide. The blue boxes are personal needs. The green boxes are business uses. And those 6 all use Kaizen. And the gray box is not Kaizen. Retirement income, transferring wealth, gifting strategies, fixed income alternatives, executive employee benefits, buy-sell succession planning, key person protection, all really important topics. The number 1 used in the country is retirement income. Probably the number 2 is transferring wealth. And probably the third is the executive employee benefits. There's a lot on this page, but I'm trying to keep it simple. The 6 key features and advantages of Kaizen. We'll be spending a minute here so you understand them. Number 1, potential tax-free withdrawals. Access to cash value using tax-free policy loans. Don't want to go a lot of explanation, but life insurance gives you the beneficiaries receive the money cash-free, tax-free, and you can borrow from it as the owner in life. And that's what we do with Kaizen. What difference does that make? Tax-free. Here's my little example, 8%. If you're in the 20% long-term capital gain and 5% for the state, that means you're going to give, out of an 8% return, you're going to give up 2%. You're going to net 6. And if you want to figure out how much 8% is more than 6%, that's 33% more growth. We sometimes we're trying for 8% or 10 or 12 or whatever, and just this one thing gives you a 33% growth. Tax-free, eliminates tax risk. Number 2, no negative returns, 0 floor due to a declining index. Again, with Index Universal Life, you have a floor of 0. You can't lose. No negative years. It eliminates downside market risk. Number 3, upside crediting, growth potential. You're not actually in the market, but with a little bit of excess cash, they buy options. And therefore, you can participate in the market returns. There's capped indexes, example of Standard & Poor's 500. They'll usually have a cap of 12.5%. Well, I shouldn't say usually. That's the current rate. And it can be lower or higher depending on the economy. And the 10-year average in this area has been 8.2. Another type of an index is a participation index. An example is this is with Allianz Life Insurance, Bloomberg's U.S. Dynamic Balance 2 ER Index, a long mouthful. 10-year average is 5.4% in this index, but you have a participation rate of 218.5%. Wow. So just do the math. That means if you were at this 218.5% participation rate for 10 years, you'd be 11.88. So upside crediting, growth potential, zero downside, and tax-free. I want to do another webinar at this point and say, wow, those first three are pretty cool. The question is, why not? Number 4, this is where Kaizen starts to get involved. Leverage maximum funding up to 3-to-1. I'm going to call this the seeding. And this is without collateral, with no personal guarantees, loan documents, interest payments, or credit checks. The way this has been structured, the policy is adequate collateral for the bank in the 3-to-1 leveraging. Substantially reduces capital risk, money you have to get into the market. And I'm going to show you some interesting things there today. 5 annual payments. That's it. Oh, I want to do 6. Nope, it's 5. Reduce payment fatigue. Oh, years ago, I bought a 20-year, 20-pay long-term care policy on my wife and I. That 20 years seemed like a long time. Actually, it's up. I'm paid up on my long-term care for life, but it was a fatigue issue, certainly. 6, death benefits and living benefits. I can't ignore that this is still life insurance, that you have a death benefit with living benefits. And some of the living benefits are very, very good today. Terminal illness, chronic, critical illness, critical injury. It's like buying life insurance with supplements for disability insurance and long-term care. Eliminates the financial vulnerability risk. That's the features and advantages. I think they're pretty cool. Now, here's my little interesting study I did recently. Let's talk. Exponential growth is like a snowball rolling downhill. Starts small but gains momentum and size rapidly. A medium-sized zucchini may contain around 200 to 300 seeds. A single zucchini plant can produce anywhere from 3 to 9 zucchinis per week. The zucchini plant, actually in Utah, could continue to produce fruit for about 6 to 8 weeks. So how many seeds can a zucchini seed produce? Well, yeah, I'm not going to make you pull out your calculator. On this short side, 3,600. On the top side, 21,600 seeds. That is exponential growth. I guess I'm leading you to believing that you can get some exponential growth in Kaizen. We'll show you. Let's go to wheat. A wheat plant may produce anywhere from 20 to 100 or more kernels per wheat head. On average, a healthy, well-cultivated wheat plant typically produces 1 to 3 wheat heads. A farmer might aim for a plant population around 20 to 30 plants per square foot. How many seeds will a square foot produce? Well, you could do all that math too. 400 to 9,000 in a square foot. How many square feet in an acre? A lot of you knew that, probably know this. I didn't know it, so I had to look it up. 4,840. So how many seeds will an acre produce? 17,492,000 on the small side to 43,560,000 on the large side. Wow. That's exponential growth, not a 10% return, a major return. So exponential growth can quickly turn the impossible into the inevitable. Just as a seed needs nurturing, care, resources to germinate and grow into a plant, many startups requires financial support in its early stages to develop its product or service. Seeding is the word they use. Encapsulates the concept of providing the essential financial resources needed for a business idea to sprout and flourish. You're seeding the company. Give me a lever long enough, a fulcrum on which to place it, and I will move the world. Archimedes. The power of exponential growth is unrivaled. It's the difference between arithmetic and geometric progression. It's where the real magic happens. I don't know how to say his name. Someone will have to teach me. So here's the seeding on Kaizen. You're seeding it with debt. And the debt is what is going to do wonders for you. You have 5 payments. That's the top left piggies. And the bank is putting in approximately the same amount for those first 5 years. The next 5 years, if you're done, the bank is going to continue making what you are paying, and they're going to continue making the payment of what they're paying, about 3 to 1. Now, if this was premium finance, we would be doing 20 to 1, and we would be putting up collateral, and it'd be higher risk. This has been designed so that there's no collateral on your part, and it's leveraged 3 to 1, but that's not 20 to 1. So here's some other basic information you need to know. The toll booth of Kaizen. I'm working on an infographic called the toll road of Kaizen. So that's where this toll booth came from. So there's 5 major things you need to be aware of. Financial capacity, the ability to make annual minimum payments ranging from $20,000 to $40,000, subject to specific conditions. Allianz introduced a monthly payment option this last November. So you have to have a pretty good payment per year. Second, you need to give it some time. This seeding, you can't pull up a seed every week. You can't pull up the plant, see if it's working. Commitment to a 15-year investment horizon before initiating withdrawals. And you'll see on a spreadsheet I'm going to show you shortly. That's probably the next slide is about disadvantages. But that's one of the disadvantages. It takes some time to get going. Financial eligibility, minimum income 100,000 with potential net worth requirements depending on the life insurance we pick. Health underwriting, this is life insurance. The applicants must undergo standard or better health underwriting. And last, an age range. Applicants must be between 18 to 65 years of old to qualify for the policy. And I got a slide on that I want to show you. I've never put this slide up on any presentation, but I think it's an important one. This is what I believe the disadvantages are. Initial growth period and higher costs. The 15-year growth period, and let me mention this 15 years for a second. You saw that the payments were going in for 10 years. You for 5, the bank through 10. Well, we we've did some studies, and 99% of the time, if we give this 15 years, because of the growth, we're then able to pay off the bank. So that we need this 15 years. 15-year growth period and higher initial costs do not align with short-term financial objectives or immediate flexible needs. There is life insurance costs of this, and in life insurance policies, the costs are really paid in the early years. We'll see that on my spreadsheet. 2, tax benefits linked to long-term commitment. This is almost the exact same. Kaizen policy provides significant tax benefits, tax-free withdrawals through policy loans. This tax-free status is tied to long-term commitment, ensuring tax-free proceeds for the owner and for the beneficiaries. Qualifications criteria, we've already mentioned this, financial thresholds, income prerequisites, net worth prerequisites, underwriting standards, age limitations. 4, risk spread from leverage. Employing leverage, borrowing funds up to 3 to 1, prevents potential risk, including negative spreads during zero return years. Let me explain this spread. We have a return we're making. Let's say we're making 10. And we're paying an interest rate. And on my example, that we could be paying an 8% rate. We're not that high. I think we're about 7 right now. But the spread is what you're seeding, and this is what's going to make your money long term. Since the 1930s, this strategy has never had a 15-year period of time with less than a 2% spread. 15%, 15-year average. But in a 10-year period, you're going to have 2 or 3 years of negative market returns. So we'll be a 0, but we'll still have the interest rate. But that's okay as your long term. That's the big deal, long term. Service commitment. I keep wondering if I should even put this here. But the company that designed Kaizen is NIW, and they have a 15-year service commitment because before the banks pay, they're involved in the trust. So they're going to be involved for 15 years. I'm pretty sure I won't be, or who knows. But, you really don't need a lot of service on these with the zero floor, market returns. You can change your index on the anniversary of a year if you want. There's just not a lot of service needed, but I'm committed to give service as long as I can. All right. I haven't put this slide in for a few while, and I revised it some and made it, hopefully made it prettier, but certainly bright. But suggested ages. I want to ignore that transferring wealth category on top for a second. I'll start looking at the retirement income, fixed income, executive employee benefits, buy, sell, key person, and even the receiver on transferring wealth. These ages are all the same. Let me go with the 66 plus first. That's in a bright red because the insurance companies will not issue this policy to anyone 66 or over. It's over with. Can we talk them into it? Nope, can't be done. Now, I've put 18 to 50 as a sweet spot before 50. And I put a caution, the yellow, in them between 51 and 65. And the reason it's in that caution is going to be for a number of reasons. And so if you're there, we'll look it over. We'll see if we can pull it off. But one of the reasons is that 15 years. Remember, before 15 years before we take income, take 50, and add 15, you're 65. That's the traditional age people retire. Now, if you're planning to retire at 70 and not take Social Security till then, maybe you could be still in the green till 55. But at the same time, cost of insurance is getting more expensive for older people. That's why the 66 plus says it's not going to work. And your time frame and health and everything. So that's why we're going to evaluate it, see where we go. Okay. We have this website. You could maybe want to call a landing page called ILIA, Interactive Learning Information Assistance. This is designed, built by NIW for the Kaizen product. And to go to this site, you have to have a login and a password. On the upper right, you can see that I've taken a photo of my ILIA login. And on the left side is an index of all the things you can look at in this site. Introductory video, how it works, leverage, plan design, testimonials, all kinds of things. But you can read to your heart's content. But the part that I use a lot is the estimate my benefits, and that's where I'm pulled up on. And they have two estimators. On the left at the top, you can see quick results estimator. And on the right, you can see custom design. They put new because it's fairly new that they've had this option. You put in the numbers and see your results. We're going to do at least one or two on the web live site at the end of the webinar. But and you can be thinking if you want me to send you an invitation to this site. Now, in this site, and if you go to an illustration, you're going to see this. If there's any insurance salesman watching, you've seen these before, and maybe you've seen, but there's a lot of rows and there's lots of numbers, and if I'm working with this, I'm pulling out a ruler and drawing lines under it and trying to figure out what it's saying. Well, it's a little bit difficult, and so I've designed, I'm going to call it the Streamlined Bigger Print Overview. And that's the next slide. But I want to tell you the person, the illustration I'm going to use. This is kind of a sample and to give you a feel for how this is going to go. Contributions, 70,000 per year, 1 through 5. The reason I chose 70 is that's the actual average of these policies in the country. People aren't going with the minimum very often, but sometimes. So 70,000 contribution for 5 years. The bank contribution, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't tell you the person. This is a male, age 40, excellent health, non-smoker. All right. So the bank going to contribute 73,122 for the 5 years, 365,610. And then in the next 5 years, 6 through 10, I put my brackets poorly there, didn't I? Got an extra bracket. Bank contribution 141, 773 a year, or 708, 865. Total bank contributions $1,074,475. 475. I'm calling this the seeding. The total combined contribution $1,424,475. The initial death benefit $2,400,000. So all illustrations have some growth rate that they use, and the one we're using on this one and on all the ones that I'm pulling up today is 6.71. That's not a bad rate to project at. We've averaged higher than that the last 10 years, but we don't want to go too high. And we're going to show you a comparative return. So I'm going to assume for a comparative, we're going to say we're in a 20% long-term capital gain rate, 5% state. So an after-tax return would be 5.02. We're also borrowing money on this illustration, and the initial lender rate is 7%. Whew. We're illustrating a 6.71 return and illustrating a 7% insurance borrowing cost the first year. And on the illustration, remember, want to go back to that? Let me go back for a second. See on the left, see that third column over, see that 7? Then 5.37 and all these different numbers. The bankers of the country are projecting that interest rates will go down, and that's their rate they're projecting. So we're projecting these interest rates from 5.15 to 5.7 over the next 15 years. This is illustrating a spread of 0.6. Remember I said that all 15-year segments since 1930, the spread has never been less than 2. We're illustrating something that's never happened, never been this low. Wow. And my guess that if the spread was 2% in the illustrations, that the income would be 12% higher. Well, that's good, 12%. But the point is the leverage. So let's get into my spreadsheet. Oh, there's still a lot of numbers. I apologize. But I made it small, at least for me, understandable. Let's go over the top row. See the royal blue columns? Those are numbers right off of the spreadsheet. I didn't guess them. They put them in. And so that's that. Now there's that one. Let me talk about column E, that one over there a bit in a minute. But then there's the navy blue columns. I added these columns. And these are just addition. This is just adding to show you your client total contribution, the total contribution with the bank, distribution from the illustration, totals. This is just arithmetic. Now, then, so let's get started. So I didn't show every year. So notice we're showing the 5th year of the top one. Age was a 40-year-old, now he's 45. So he's put in 350,000. And so this money, the 350, that's the first green column, would have grown to $387,026 by that point. Now go way over there to the net surrender value, the 4th from the right. You'll see the net surrender value is 308,347, and I put it in red. Oh wow, what is that? About 80,000 less. I lost 80,000 by putting this in this Kaizen thing. How come? Well, you know the answer, and I do too. But you're paying for insurance. You bought insurance. You've got the death benefit. You've got the long-term care benefits. You've got all the costs of life insurance. We've tried to mitigate these costs in Kaizen as much as we can. I think we've done a pretty good job, but it's not eliminated. So I kept So let's go to 10 years. Did we catch up? Now we're at 494 on the investment compared to 401. Ooh, we're still, what, 90,000 behind? All right. So this is not a short-term investment. Let's go to 13 years, 572 to 554. We're getting close, but we're not there yet. Then we go to 14th year, 601 to 620. We're finally over that. Now it took 14 years, but now it's ahead of the regular investment. Now I've put where the reds are from the investment in the green columns are now negative for forevermore, and the Kaizen numbers are getting better. Now, let me talk about that net surrender value. We never want to do that. If you surrender this policy, then I have failed. You never want to surrender this policy. You really don't want to. That column is going to become non-important. I know in the early years I want to compare to see how it's doing, but it's not going to be that important. But let's stay with that net surrender value. Let's go to the 85 years of age, okay? 45 years down the road. No, let's go to age 65. So here at 65, the green has grown to 1,030,000, and the surrender value is 1,608,000. Ooh, Kaizen's, you've got more money just cashing it out than if you'd have done this other. Took some time, and if you do, making me a little more complex with the distributions. But if we go to the age 85, I mentioned age 40, 45 years, we've got withdrawals. Now it's down to 317,000, and the surrender value is 1,127,000. Still better, but eventually we want to ignore that surrender value. We were not going to get rid of it. So okay, let me go down. Let's go to the 15th year. In the 15th year, we're paying back the bank. See the bank column, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 over the royal blue. It says now the bank is zero debt. And in the two columns over, we're showing the cumulative bank loan we paid it off, the negative 1,766,000, all the interest, everything. But notice I gotta fix that little N. Accumulation value and net surrender value really haven't changed. Oh, didn't we pay the bank back when those numbers go down? The reality is we've just switched who we owe money to. See where I put that green highlights a 0, and we have 1,947,015. That is now we're borrowing from the bank. I'm sorry, we're borrowing from the insurance company. So from now on, the debt is to the insurance company. We've seeded the company with the bank loaning, and now the insurance company is willing to loan the rest after 15 years. And you can see at age 100 that even though we're going to be taking money out, we're going to have debt of 36 million. Wow. Now, so eventually we want this as an income play. So let's go to age 65. Let's talk about the green columns and those negative numbers over there. What am I doing here? What I did using present value analysis, I targeted to have this money all gone at age 90. So taking the same rate of return, but I'm spending every penny, and so that at age 90 is over. Assuming that I didn't live to 90 anyway. Now, if you think you're going to live till a little longer, wait till my next slide. I'm sorry I'm taking so much time on this page, but this is the heart of the presentation today. So notice in the green columns, the income and paying it all out is $73,285,000 a year. And by age 90, we're going to have pulled out $1,822,135,000 from $350,000 investment. We succeeded. Now let's go over to the Kaizen. The income is $203,000. And we stopped it at age 90, to be fair, but we pulled out $5,278,000 to their $1,822,000, and we still have death benefit. And if we quit pulling money out, the death benefit, loan, everything, all the numbers keep just going up because of the debt. We've seeded this thing with debt. And that's why we're getting 203,000 income compared to the 73, more than double. Now, let's go to the next one. It's the same slide. What I've done, I've just extended it to age 100. So on the left, for the green columns, we've said, no, I want income through 100. I want to make sure, I don't want to gamble I'm going to not die before 90. So here we're going to target to have it out 0 at 100. Then we're going to reduce the income to 63,112. Oh, wait a second, Kaizen didn't reduce. It kept paying 203, and the numbers, the surrender value is good, the death benefit loan, the accumulation value. The insurance company is choosing this number, and that they're picking a number that's sustainable. That's their big deal. Oh, remember that 12%? I thought if we had a spread of 12, I didn't write this down, but I got my calculator. So 203,000 times 1.12, that'd be an income of 227,000. Better, certainly great. Well, this is the seeding, the debt. And you'd have never thought that debt would be your friend. So the debt is what causes you to have this higher income. Now, I wanted to give you some numbers in case you aren't excellent health at age 40, a non-user of tobacco or marijuana. They've added that. So if you're average health at age 40, non-user, then this illustration would have been 154,000. Okay, less. Male, if you're excellent and a user of tobacco, it'd have been 120. If you're male and average and a user, it'd been 107. And if you're female, excellent, non-user, 170. You can read all through those. But anyway, they're all better. They're all still higher than the income to 90 approach or the income to 100. So even if you aren't that excellent health-wise, Kaizen works. So we're going to go to the ILIA site, and let me talk about the information needed for an invitation. Need your name, date of birth, mobile phone number, and email. I put carrier in red because I have to choose a carrier for this invitation to go out with. And I'm gonna give you a summary of those in just a second. Notice I didn't put in bold the expected contribution, the combined annual household income, net worth, occupation. The ILI invitation has a place for me to fill that stuff out. And maybe the company would not be happy with me, but if you don't give me that information, I'll just guess and we'll get you the invitation. Or you can give it to me if you want, your choice. When you get the invitation, it'll be coming from myilia.com. Okay, let's talk about the carrier. This is fun putting this together during this last month. Allianz and National are the two major companies we're using for Kaizen right now. And I want to just compare them because you kind of make a decision which one you think you want to go with. So age, Allianz uses your actual age, day before your birthday. If you're turning 60 tomorrow, the day before you're 59. National uses nearest age. So 6 months before your birthday, they give you a ratchet it up to the next age. Just different approaches. Performance. They're very similar. I looked at both the indexes on both, but they're similar. But Allianz is illustrating a higher number. I gave it the green color as being who wins the race in this area. So because it's illustrating higher, I gave them the green. Index option, they're similar. Very similar indexes, not a big deal, but Allianz has an index lock feature. The index lock feature means once a year, you can say, oh, I think the market's at a high today. I want to move out and go to money market for the rest of my year before my anniversary when I change my, select my next index. So you can pop out once a year. That's the interesting timing the market approach. So you can they have an index locks, they don't in national. So Allianz got the green there. Allianz has a bonus program. And for a while, this was a little bit hard for me to understand, but standard no bonus, higher caps, and participation rates. Or classic means you get a 0.9 bonus, but lower caps and participation rate, no charge for this feature. In other words, if you average 10, you get 0.9 more, 10.9. Or there's the bonus section, which is a 15 multiplier. So lower caps and participation rate. So I had 218% on that top one. And I didn't write them down, but let's say it's 180 on this multiplier. So let's say if the index does 5, and then we get 100, pull out my calculator. Sorry. 0.05 times 1.8. So that'd be with the participation rate getting a 9%, and then you get a 15% bonus times 1.15, or you get a 10.35. That's how that works. The select is a 40% multiplier after the participation rate, but you're paying a 1% charge. National has nothing like this really. They have a no bonus program, but they have accumulation value enhancement rider that gives you a small bonus at the end of 2 years. But so I gave the green to Allianz again. Payment options, as I mentioned earlier, Allianz changed to yearly or monthly. And National, I'm sure they're going to come out with a monthly, but right now they're just yearly. So Allianz got the green there. Living benefits. Hey, national one here. They have terminal illness, chronic illness, critical illness. I put in bold what Allianz doesn't have: critical injury, Alzheimer's disease. They're considered one of the best in the nation in these living benefits. So National won the prize here, where Allianz just has 2 of those 5. And last, net worth requirements. Let me stay with National. 100,000 household income, no net worth requirements. But Allianz, they have different household income depending on your net worth. So if your income to 100,000 household income, you need $1 million net worth to qualify. If you're 200,000, you're only 500. If you're 400,000, 0. So it's a little harder to get into the Allianz. So that helps you. So if you want to be invited, I gotta pick one. So you tell me which road you want to go. Okay, it's time to go to this ILIA and give you a test drive. If anyone wants to send in any questions, I'll look to see if I've got any questions coming in. But I'm happy to give you an illustration with a real illustration on your situation or your life. So you could just give your information. But while you're doing that, the QR code, see that on the right? Let's say I'm not ready, Jim, to send you my email and phone number and not ready for that invitation to ILIA, but I certainly see if I'd like to learn more. Well, this QR code will give you quite a bit of information. There's a video, an explanation on Kaizen. I think it's pretty darn good. And if you're interested further, there's a place to put in your name and I'll get with you. In addition, you can just go to my website. As I mentioned, my website's been revamped. I think we're getting it better and better to make it more helpful for everybody. Let's see. Questions. Well, let me read you this one. I'm 38. I'm making 250,000. I'm trying to summarize it. A PhD. He had the long education route, and it had a lot of debt, college debt, but he's paid it off. I'm 38 and making 250. He has 0 set aside for retirement. So his question is, okay, tell me what I got to do. So let's give it a whirl. I'm going to change sites. Okay. This is the live Kaizen site, and this is the illustration section. So Kaizen details, I'll click here. And here's the estimate my benefits. I'm going to go to estimate my benefits. And here's this quick results estimator and the custom estimator. You know, let's stay with the quick estimator for a second. So this fellow said he was 38, male. You'll see when we go to the custom, there's a lot more questions to fill in. So we're 38 male, we select the sex, and then we gonna adjust the annual contribution. He probably wants to know what he has to put in every year. to retire. He didn't say what year, at what age, so we're going to have to guess a little bit. But I'm going to move this contribution to 50. That's good, round number. So 38 male, 50. We're going to calculate this thing. And immediately we have the results. So here, this shows you there are 5 piggies contributions and the bank contributions. And here's the numbers. So this fellow, 38, is putting in 250,000 total. And the bank is putting in 600, 43,835 for 5 years, then 92,485 for the next 5 years. Total contribution, 931. And now we're going to go to benefits and distribution. So here, even we're illustrating this at 6.71, but because of the, and we're doing the, we're 0.6 spread, but even with that, the internal rate of return is going to be 8.66. And we're going to buy initial death benefit of 1,683,909. And when he turns 65, he could get a check for 144,000 per year, tax-free. And by the time he hits 90, he would have pulled out 3,744,000 tax-free, and he'd still have a death benefit of 647,893. Remember how much he put in? 250,000. 250,000 turns into 3,744,000. Is this exponential returns? Let's show you a comparison. There's this bar chart, but let me just go to the number one. So here's his 144. If we did this life insurance policy without the leverage, without the Kaizen, we could give him an income check of 92,000 tax-free. If we did it in an after-tax investment, and that's what I used in the illustration, he'd be at 61,000. And if he did an IRA 401k, he'd have an income of 78,000. This is all being totally fair, same returns, just the different chassis. Now, let's say, so you can see the Kaizen worked for him very well, but let's say if I got him on the phone, they said, well, Jim, 144,000 isn't enough. I want more. So then I'd say, can you do more than 50,000 a year? Can you do 70 or something, or 80? We could do another illustration. And maybe he'd say, no, I can't. In fact, I can't do the 50. Let's do 40. And then we'd do the 40 and then we'd get a number. And then I said, okay, let's do a second policy in 5 years. So we can do payments of 10 years and 2 policies to achieve his retirement goals. Okay, let's see if there's any more questions. Got a 53-year-old making 200,000. He says he is of average health, and he says, I'm not sure this will work because I'm in the yellow in your age chart. So let's see if it will work. So in this case, I'm going to go to the custom design. And we're going to go new custom design. Oh, all these pushing the buttons, these are all the exact same buttons available to you. You can do all this is nothing that only me. This is available when you have this ILIA. So the custom, I have to put in names and stuff. So I'm going to put his first name as A and his last name as A. I select a birth date, and he's 53. Let's see, 24. What is that? Let's see, January 1st of 1975. 49. I wasn't very good at my math, was I? So he's so 71, 53. So okay, so we're putting his birthday January 1st, 1971, and we're selecting a gender, male. We're selecting average health. And does the client use tobacco or marijuana products? Too bad that they added the marijuana. But so we're going to put no. We're going to put next. Then we have more options here. We can say, I don't want an income of 65. I want just see how it grows. I want to use this as a virtual, oh, I forgot the word, infinite banking. But we're going to go with the income. So we check that box. And then we have to do an annual contribution. And the minimum it says here is $26,250. Let's stay with that 50,000 we had with the other one. So 50,000, and it's annual. We're doing annual, or we're actually in Allianz, so we could actually push monthly. Let's do the monthly. Let's do a monthly payment, which is now $4,167 a month. Then we're pushing next again. And now on this custom design, we can choose the distribution age. Now, notice it says 69. It didn't say 65 because he's 53 and we want 15 years. So you can see the yellow zone action. So I have to say to him, can you wait till 69? Is that okay? And well, I was planning to retire with full benefits from Social Security at age 70 anyway. Oh, do you want me to change this to 70? So here, if it had been really young, we could have gone less than 65, but here we can do anything we want here. So, oh, and I really want, let's say I want this to 100. I want to make sure I can, but I have this income. So now we've been custom, we did 70 and 100, and now we do view results. Now, remember how instantaneous the other one was? This one is not. It's stress testing, and it's actually going to crank out a illustration, the insurance company illustration. This gives you a whole lot, but we have to wait. While it's doing it, let me talk about the stress testing. They've stress tested Kaizen, for the 1980s of high interest rates, and it still performed, beat the other competition. And they stress tested it for the 1930s of terrible returns, and with those zero floors, it did well in the 30s. This is probably as safe. You can't certainly use the word guaranteed, but a secure retirement strategy as you can get. Now I cranked out the numbers, and we notice way up at the top is loading illustrations. Well, I want to show you those, but let's show you the numbers. Let's see how he did. So there might have been a mistake made. Your monthly contribution of 50,000. Oh, darn. Um, that is me. Um, let's go let's go fix it. So we got a little start. I hope you, at what time? 11 o'clock. I really want to wrap things up. Let me try to do this as fast as I can. So you have this 53-year-old. There's actually one more person, but we won't be able to get to that one. What was that? 1971. Male, average health. Just to make sure this doesn't mess things up, I'll stay with the annual. Oh, I should mention, I didn't mention it before, down below the contribution, there's a place here for the employer match or amount. This is that employee benefit, and we could do that for the employer right here also. But anyway, let's go to next. And we changed to 70. And then we view results, and we have to do the stress testing again. We'll try to wrap this up real fast for the day. I hope you've enjoyed being in the webinar. As you want any invitation, just send those things I need, and we'll get you an invitation to ILIA. Okay. Let's see if we've made a mistake this time. All right, we're okay. 50,000 or 250,000 for 5 years. The bank's putting in 627, total 877. Let's go to the benefits. So the policy will be $1,035,000, and the beginning at age 670, he could take an income of 56,000, tax-free. So at age 90, he would have pulled out $1,176,000. Still have a death benefit of 669. Now let's compare them with these other entities. So 56 without the leverage, 45, just regular investing, 38, and tax deferred IRAs, 47. So the numbers are closer, but was this a better option for him? He has life insurance, he has disability, long-term care, and a higher income, tax-free. So it worked for the 53-year-old if he's willing to wait till 70 for income and average health. It worked. Oh, I really do want to show you the illustrations up here. This is last. You've got a client proposal and a carrier illustration. But let me just go to the client proposal. And so here we got it all, we can print it out, all the details of this situation, and that illustration, see that, there it is. There would be the one for this person, but it gives you for everything you need to know about this. And if you do the other one, the carrier is longer. All right. All right, we're back to my regular page, and I hope you've enjoyed the webinar. I actually went a little longer than I thought. Hopefully I wasn't too wordy, but any questions, give me a call, email me. I was happy to send you an invitation wherever you want to go. And there's that QR code if you didn't get a chance to do that. Have a great day, and have a great month and a new year. Bye.